Okay.
But really, they need to come to the town, and that's what I was kind of upset, is that they haven't come to the town to explain the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
people deserve to be able to hear what's going on.
I'm watching my dogs through Blink.
Oh my gosh,
God knows what they're doing.
gives you like motion alerts.
Yeah, that's why I had to turn it off because it's never stops.
Carl, you know Nick Gagnon, Chris's brother?
Yes.
So they have a little girl, Gracie. So I got to babysit her today. She's so cute. She's so adorable. 5 months.
Really?
Yeah. She's so cute. She's got a full head of hair. She's just beautiful.
5 months.
Yeah.
Stella's been trying to do some babysitting. Is anyone interested?
I am interested, yeah. If she has any free dates, I was like, once she gets established and she has time or whatever, let me know.
She just needs to make time. She has time.
She has the time? All right, yeah. That would be great. We can bring the girls down if she's more comfortable there, or...
Wherever she's good with kids.
Okay.
She doesn't like being in it, but she loves to be.
Okay, so a joint meeting of the Madison Zoning Board of Adjustment and the Planning Board. I'm Drew Gentile, Chairman of the Zoning Board of Adjustment. For those of you who are here for Zoning Board of Adjustment items, we are going to have a joint meeting first, and Mr. Paul Marks is going to chair that section of the meeting, and we hope to have that done 7:30-ish, 8 o'clock at the latest, because our procedures require that we don't start any new business after 9 o'clock. So we do have 2 other cases for the Zoning Board of Adjustment tonight, so if you're here for one of those 2 cases, we do intend to get to you. There is a chance that we may not, but just simply say that the purpose of this meeting is to allow both boards to hear a single presentation, and we need to allow time for that. So with that explanation, is there a flag? Yeah, there's a flag over there. Let's stand and say pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so with that, since this is officially a zoning board of adjustment meeting, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Paul Marks to address this first case.
Good evening. My name is Paul Marks. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Madison Planning Board, and members present here tonight, to my right, Paul Littlefield, Kyle Nordland, Donna Temple, and I'd like to elevate 2 alternates, Tina Gagnon and Joseph Viana. With that being said, we're here with a joint meeting with the ZBA and the Planning Board, and we're here to listen to the presentation by Attorney Parisi. So, without further ado, good evening.
Good evening. My name is Francis Parisi, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant Vertex Towers. We are here tonight seeking several variances from the zoning board to construct a wireless telecommunication facility, is what your zoning bylaw calls it. The rest of the world calls it a cell tower. And we are also here tonight in front of the planning board seeking site plan review. I want to start off by saying thank you very much. I know this is unusual to have a joint meeting, but the way your zoning bylaw works, I think it's going to be more efficient in the long run. We need to go in front of both boards, both the zoning board and the planning board. And having done this in many towns throughout New Hampshire, we found that if we convene a joint meeting, it's actually more efficient for everybody in the long run. All this warms up here. The subject property is known as 0 Tasker Hill Road. When I looked at the town's tax assessor maps, that's the legal address of the property. However, the lot doesn't even touch Tasker Hill Road because of some subdivisions that were done previously. And so, in all the legal notices, we've also called it off of Oak Ridge Road, which is really the closest public right-of-way to the facility. So I'm going to interchange between Tasker Hill and Oak Ridge Road, but we're talking about a very large 95-acre parcel. It basically has frontage on Oak Ridge Road, but the legal address is Tasker Hill Road. We are here tonight because your zoning bylaw requires all telecommunications facilities to get site plan review from the planning board. So even if we had developed a compliant facility, we'd still be in front of the planning board for site plan review. However, I think your zoning bylaw tracks a lot of the zoning bylaws that were done throughout the county and throughout all of New Hampshire, in that it had several provisions that were just not technically feasible. One of which is the height of the type of facility, and we'll get into great detail with that. But your zoning bylaw limits these type of facilities to 10 feet above the average tree canopy, which actually doesn't make sense in our world because it presupposes a flat world. But when you get in a world like Madison, which has very diverse terrain, it just becomes technically impossible. So we require a height variance. In addition, there were several provisions in there, I'm not even sure why they're there, that all utilities have to be underground. There's overhead utilities servicing the entire neighborhood. And we suspect that when we start doing some geotechnical analysis, we'll probably find some ledge up there where underground utilities would be impractical, so we're asking for a variance from that. And also, your zoning bylaw has some confusion with the type of facility that we can build. It talks about mast-type mount towers, no lattice towers or guide towers or rooftop monopoles are allowed, but we're proposing a ground-mounted monopole. So it's kind of confusing as to whether or not your bylaw prohibits or not. So because I needed the height variance, we asked for the design variance as well. And I'm sure you'll see as we go on that this is the most appropriate design for this type of facility, but we'll get into that in more detail as well. And then the only other thing, this lot does not have sufficient frontage on any public right-of-way. It does not have any frontage on Tasker Hill Road as far as I could see, and it has only about 50 feet of frontage on Oak Ridge Road, I'm sorry. And so I believe it's a previous existing non-conforming lot, and we can talk about that, and it predates the zoning bylaw. However, while I was here going to the zoning board for all the other variances, I threw in that variance request as well. But I think when we get to the site plans, we'll determine whether or not a variance is even necessary in that regard. I submitted a very large application package. I'm not going to go through it piece by piece. We'll kind of do the treetops here today, but I think I provided a very compliant application package for both the zoning board and the planning board as well. In addition, anticipating that everyone's going to say, what's it going to look like, we did a visibility demonstration. I worked with Kate. We got the word out to all the abutters who got notices of the public hearing. We put an ad in the Conway Sun, and hopefully you guys all got notice. And I just put the balloon up last week. We got photographs from the engineers. I have them, they'll be on the screen tonight, but I'll give everyone paper copies before they leave. In addition, once we got the visibility demonstration, we got a report from an appraiser showing that there'd be no effect on property values, which is one of the criteria that we need to establish for the variance. And I'll go over that tonight, but like I said, I have paper copies here to give to everybody before they walk away. By way of introduction, Vertex is what we call a wireless infrastructure developer. I think this board, or at least the zoning board, has had some experience with telecommunications facilities. What's happened is the names you've heard of before, T-Mobile and Verizon, AT&T, have pretty much gotten out of the real estate business and have partnered up with real estate developers, infrastructure developers like Vertex. We've actually been very successful in the county and throughout all of New Hampshire. By way of example, we built a tower in Conway, just north of Conway Lake, where we like to call it Center Conway. We've got approval, and we're under construction in North Conway, just at the base of Cranmore. We've got approvals, if we come up the 153 corridor, we've got approvals in Wakefield, 2 in Wakefield. We've been approved by the zoning board. No, we've got zoning board, still in front of the planning board in Effingham. We've got a site in Freedom that we've been approved by the zoning board and the planning board, and we just got approved by the planning board and zoning board in Eden. So we've been very active in this area, and we look at things very holistically. As a real estate developer, we can look at things, we can look at your zoning bylaw, we can look at land use. We work very carefully with the radio frequency engineers, but we don't die on a sword and say we have to be here. We can be more thoughtful. We've been very successful throughout all of New Hampshire. We've done a bunch of projects even north of the Notch, stretching from Berlin all the way to Haverhill, across the northern part of the state. And we believe we've got a team in place that can be very sensitive to the town's needs, but also providing requisite and valuable telecommunications signals. In this case, we've partnered up with T-Mobile. They're our anchor tenant, but we're agnostic. We build facilities that are tall enough and structurally accommodating for multiple telecommunications companies, which is encouraged by your zoning bylaw, and to minimize the number of telecommunication facilities that are needed elsewhere in town. I hope I don't need to sell telecommunications to the town of Madison. I've been up here many times. I've driven up and down through Madison many times as part of this project, but also as part of the other projects that we've done in Freedom and Eaton and Conway. Your cell phone coverage is horrific, and I think you guys all know that. You know, what's happened in the world is that we're moving towards a wireless world. The statistics are staggering. Over 50% of the state of New Hampshire only has wireless telecommunications as their source of telecommunications connectivity. 80% of 911 calls are made by wireless phones. And you know, what's happened over the last several years is people are working from home and trying to educate from home. The technology, the wireless technology, has become a home-based technology, a residential technology, as opposed to a mobile technology. When we first started developing these networks, we were really focused on Route 16 and Route 93, thinking that people would use them as they drove. But what we found over the last several years is that people are using them as their sole source of telecommunications. And so, you know, we're required to go closer and closer to residential development without having a significant impact on residential development. And I think, we submitted a lot of data to show that not only is there a need for this facility where we are, but also that it has minimal impact, and there's really not a lot of alternatives based on the topography and terrain of the area. We work a lot with regional planning commissions as well, because a lot of the regional planning commissions have recognized the great public safety benefit of wireless telecommunications. As part of this process, we need to notify all the other cities and towns because they're deemed a development of regional impact. And sometimes planning boards are confronted with that. But in this case, all cell towers are deemed development of regional impact. So we notify all the abutting towns. We notify all the towns within 20 miles. And quite frankly, we used to balk at doing that because it's a great burden, although Kate bore the burden of this one. However, we actually find that when we send out notices to all the abutting towns, they call us and say, when are you coming to our town? Because of the great public safety need and benefit of these type of facilities. Why here? Why Tasker Hill Road? I think you guys know the topography certainly better than I do. You know, the hill that we're on, the Edelweiss Hill, is actually a topographical impediment to the existing facilities that are on Route 16, both in Conway and Tamworth, and going down into Ossipee. And the hill that we're on actually provides a topographical impediment to the Edelweiss neighborhood on the backside where the lakes are, and also going down towards where we are right now. And we submitted a lot of technical data to show this. There's existing coverage in what I would call North Madison, coming off the Route 16 corridor and 153. We have a tower in Conway that right at the top of Lake Conway that provides a little bit of benefit. And in addition, there's another tower right where Route 16 takes a hard turn north in, like by the Conway Town Hall and Conway Library, that provides some benefit. And then there's actually a tower in Camworth that has some benefit to what I would call North Madison. But like I said, the hill that we're on is blocking those telecommunications signals from coming down into the Edelweiss neighborhood and farther into what I would call center Madison. And as you can see, it's the topography that's really challenging here. Route 16 is kind of in a valley as it comes up and curves around Madison and goes into Conway. And the hill that the Edelweiss neighborhood is on, having driven up that hill many times, it's the steepest driveway I've ever gone up in my life. And you can see how steep and how substantial it is as a topographical impediment to the other side going towards the lakes and the populated part of the Edelweiss neighborhood. And we looked at a bunch of other alternatives. This wasn't the only thing we looked at. We looked at several other lots, but as you can, this really doesn't show it that detailed. But the Edelweiss neighborhood is very densely populated. There's a lot of small house lots, nothing that would accommodate the setbacks and other requirements for a telecommunications facility. The lot that we're on is 95 acres. It's undeveloped mainly because it's so steep. It starts off relatively flat right up by Oak Ridge Road and then steeps way down. So it's pretty much undevelopable from a residential perspective. There are actually 2 existing towers already up there. These towers are on adjacent lots to the subject property. As you can see, they're all maxed out. The tower on the left is what looks like a public safety tower. It's not; those aren't commercial telephone antennas. It wasn't built with the structural integrity for the type of antennas that T-Mobile and other telecommunications companies use, and it's certainly maxed out by all the different public safety uses. Across Oak Ridge Road, there's a wooden telephone pole. To be perfectly honest, I've never seen anything like it. There was a pole that we put up there a while ago. It wasn't built for this type of technology, let alone multiple telecommunications technologies, and it is again maxed out. I think there's a radio station on the top of it as well. So there's really no space on that tower physically, and nor do they have the structural capacity for the type of antennas that we're deploying on the new tower. The lot itself, like I said, I think it's 93 or 95 acres. It has a little bit of frontage on Oak Ridge Road right here, and then slopes down substantially going towards the other part of the Edelweiss neighborhood. The Tasker Hill Road comes here, but they carved off this little parcel here, so there's really no frontage on Tasker Hill Road, but like I said, there's a little bit of frontage on Oak Ridge Road. The lot actually is very attractive to us because of the height, because of the topography, because of where it is in relation to the rest of the telecommunications infrastructure, and also provides ample vegetative buffers and other setbacks to handling the requirements of your zoning bylaw. The facility itself is actually quite passive. We'll build a 40 by 70 compound about 150 feet off the Oak Ridge Road and the nearest property line. It's quite passive. The facility is just a 40 by 70 gravel compound with a couple of foundations for some telecommunications equipment, the foundation for the tower, and a chain link fence around it. Something like this, it might take maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks of construction, and we get there's a little bit of an access driveway off of Oak Ridge Road, and then we'll have to continue it, but it's relatively simple construction from our perspective. And then once it's built, it's unmanned. No one uses the driveway. Someone might come by once a month in a pickup truck to make sure that the fence is intact, but all the equipment is remotely monitored, and so it really doesn't generate any traffic. It doesn't generate any noise. It doesn't any odors or smoke or anything noxious to the neighborhood at all. The compound, like I said, is just 40 by 70 of gravel. Given the slope and to make sure that we maintain no stormwater runoff, there's a couple of drainage elements that the engineers put in here to capture the stormwater as it comes off of Oak Ridge Road up here and slides down the driveway. And there'll be some slight clearing behind it just to level off the hill for construction-related activity. But the compound itself is 40 by 70, maybe 100 by 100 of construction activity, but it's quite benign given the size of the lot. The tower itself is what we call a monopole. It's very similar to the tower that we built in, actually, the tower that we're building in Conway down by Cranmore is a monopole. It's a single pole. It's kind of the compromise between aesthetics and functionality. Different telecommunications companies, starting with T-Mobile, will attach their antennas on mounting platforms, but all the cabling runs down through the middle. So it's almost like a light pole with all the cabling inside that'll connect up at the bottom to all the different telecommunications equipment. It's designed very specific to the location. We haven't designed the foundation yet, because after we get planning board and zoning board approval, we go back and do geotechnical analysis. My suspicion is there's probably some ledge there. And then they'll design a foundation very specific to the location, and also very specific to the county, where they have all kinds of wind and ice loading data that they can incorporate into the design. So it's done very location specific, and to greatly exceed all the New Hampshire State Building Code and engineering standards of these type of facilities. These are also very low-powered facilities. This is not designed to cover all of Madison or all of northern New Hampshire. It's really designed to cover what I would call North Madison, from the top of 113, where it comes off of Route 16, connecting up Route 16, and then the Edelweiss neighborhood. And the reason is, it's a two-way communication. You're talking on your cell phone to the nearest cell tower, and the tower is talking to your cell phone. And this is a very low-powered communication, so the corresponding communication on the reverse is quite low-powered as well. These routinely broadcast at about 100 watts. And by comparison, the AM radio stations in Manchester broadcast out at 50,000 watts, because that's a technology that's designed to cover, all of central into northern New Hampshire. WBZ in Boston, which you can sometimes get north of Manchester and even north of Ossipee, broadcasts out at 50,000 watts. This broadcasts out about 100 watts, because it's really designed to cover a much smaller geography and facilitate a two-way communication. And we've submitted a lot of data in the package to support that. And like I said, what it's designed to do is really cover and fill in the gap that we saw starting with the hill here and the Edelweiss neighborhood down there, and provide much better coverage to the north part of Madison, connecting up with the tower in Conway and the tower in Tamworth. But everyone wants to know what it's going to look like. A week ago, we put a balloon. I'm going to apologize at the very beginning. I noticed that the advertisement that we put out said that the tower was going to be 180 feet tall. And I'll be honest, I took the advertisement that we did from Eaton and just changed the date and the address. Because the tower in Eaton is 180 foot tall, that was approved by the Eaton Planning Board and Zoning Board. This facility is, because it's covering a smaller geography, and because we're at the top of a very tall hill, is only 100 feet tall. So I don't think the advertisement might have been misleading. All the notices that Kate sent out for the public hearing said 100 feet. So I don't think it really mattered from a procedural perspective, because we over-advertised it, but we're building something substantially smaller. And we don't do the visibility demonstrations. We engage engineers to do it. They certify that the string was 100 feet tall. They and then take a lot of representative pictures, and where some visibility is, show some photo simulations. I just got these yesterday, so you haven't seen them yet. I emailed them to Kate yesterday. Like I said, I have paper copies here, but just kind of zip through them quickly. This is just a map showing the star being where the tower is, and all the places where the engineers drove around and took photographs of where there's some visibility, which is shown by the green, where there's some partial visibility shown by the yellow, and where there's no visibility shown by the red. And they go to pretty representative areas. I was also up here as well. I drove around quite a bit. I ran into some people up there at the site, and I think, you know, given the extensive tree canopy in the area, and then the limited vistas that you have looking back towards the hill, I think it was pretty minimally visible at best. And these go down here, I think 1 and 2 were down by the beaches down by the pond down at the bottom of the hill, and then circling back. So this was taken from the beach, is it called Edelweiss Beach? Correct me if I'm wrong, looking back at the tower, and the balloon was just over the top of the trees there. So even though we need the height variance, it's all based on perspective, and because it's, it actually dips down from the top of the ridge there, and then what we do is we can do a photo simulation. So what this tells me is that we're seeing maybe the top 10 feet of the tower. So even though the trees are very variable there, you know, anywhere from 65 feet-ish, which is why we require the height variance, it's really of minimal visibility from that vantage point. Farther down at the other beach, I guess where the basketball courts are, taken there, and again, you know, the balloon was just barely visible above the trees, and when we superimpose it, it's up there. And this is actually verifiable because there's those 2 other towers that we saw in the pictures there. One is right next to this, and one is across the street, set back a little bit. And you can't see those as well. So I think it's easy to understand why this isn't visible given the perspective and tree canopy. And then as we drove around, way down by on Route 113 by the gravel pit, there was some visibility there. I was actually surprised that you could see it there. And then, you know, like I said, but this is probably a mile and a half away from the facility, so you're getting some visibility, but you know, with all the other what I would call clutter, signage, and public utility wires, it really is of not significant visual impact. And then there were some other places that we took. This is taken right at the entrance to the driveway. It doesn't project up above the trees there. It'll get lost in the clutter of the trees and the tree canopy. So there's, and I think as the leaves come off, you might see a little bit of it, but it's not, certainly not going to be significant. And then farther down in the Edelweiss neighborhood, looking back up to it, you know, there's just, given, other than those beaches that we talked about, you know, things are pretty heavily vegetated down below, and so there was really no visibility. This was taken from the entrance of the Edelweiss neighborhood, coming up on by Geneva Beach. That's the other beach on the larger pond. No, this is the other beach at the other pond, and the tower is actually going to be behind this tree canopy here, so you're not going to see it as well. So I think, you know, even though we require the height variance, I think we've picked a spot that's of minimal visibility. I'm sure you all read it. I gave you a 35-page memorandum on every provision of your zoning bylaw that pertains to wireless telecommunication facilities and how we comply or why we don't comply and require the variance. I think, but you know, overall, there's a purpose and intent. You know, you want to reduce the adverse impacts while still providing the requisite telecommunications signal. You want to use existing structures whenever possible, and you want to encourage this type of development within those guidelines to make sure that it's appropriate for the location while still providing the benefit to the community. And I think as we've shown throughout the entire application, that we certainly satisfy the purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw. It's even though we can't use existing facilities, we make sure that we design it with the height and structural integrity for multiple telecommunications companies. We have no impact on scenic vistas or historic landmarks or any environmental issues. We took great pain to make sure there's no stormwater runoff. And I think the great benefit is certainly advantageous to the town. The zoning board, I'm sure, is aware that they're really tasked with looking at things under their own zoning bylaw, and New Hampshire state law with respect to the criteria for a variance. There's really 5 criteria that the zoning board needs to look at. That the property is not in the public interest, or if I put it, it's in the public interest to develop it. And it certainly is. It's going to facilitate better telecommunications for T-Mobile and other telecommunications companies, which is certainly a great benefit for public safety and also for the telecommunications convenience of area residents and travelers in Madison. Denying would be an unnecessary hardship. There's really not a whole lot that we can do here. We're limited by the technology, we're limited by the demand, we're limited by your zoning bylaw, we're limited by all the other land use restrictions, wetlands, topography, finding willing landlords, and given the demand and given the topography of this area in relation to the other telecommunications infrastructure along Route 16 in Conway and Tamworth that we talked about, it really is a hardship to deny this. The spirit of the ordinance is clearly observed. You want to minimize the impact to the neighborhood. We've certainly done that by picking a lot that's heavily vegetated, that's set back substantially from neighbors and abutting rights of way. It's designed to facilitate co-location, so certainly we've honored the spirit of the ordinance. Substantial injustice if denied. There are already very similar facilities in I don't know if there's any in Madison, but there's certainly in the surrounding communities. The one in Eaton is going to be 180 feet tall. The one we built in Center Conway is 170 feet tall. The one that we built that we're under construction in North Conway near Cranmore is 150 feet tall. And the facility that we are building in Freedom is 150 feet tall, but we were lucky here because the topography allows us to build something substantially shorter and still incredibly valuable and beneficial. And then there's really no effect on property values. This has been very heavily discussed in many court cases at both the federal court and the Supreme Court. Very famously at the town of Londonderry, the zoning board actually approved the use of the granting of a variance, and it was appealed. Went all the way up to the New Hampshire Supreme Court, and the New Hampshire Supreme Court said that the zoning board had done their due diligence, that they had looked at the property, that they used their own personal observations, that they got reports from appraisers to substantiate that really this doesn't have an effect on property values. And that was actually done in 2008. The thing that's changed from 2008 to now is a lot more cell towers have been built. And both in the surrounding area, but throughout all of the state of New Hampshire. And there's a lot more data that we can rely upon to show that these actually do not have any effect on property values. After we got the visibility demonstration, I provided you with a report from an appraiser. Like I said, I just got it yesterday because he was waiting for the results of the visibility demonstration. He was up here last week looking at the visibility demonstration. He was actually in town several weeks ago visiting the site. But I have a report with an immense amount of data from an appraiser showing, given the location, given the topography, given the extensive tree canopy, that this is not going to have an effect on property values. And he does that based on data as well. There are several towers in Conway that have existed for a very long time and actually can track sales data to show that towers with even more visibility of the tower than this one will have to any residential butter clearly has no impact on property values. And then, I would also, I know the board knows this area well. Hopefully you're able to see the balloon or didn't get to see the balloon because it wasn't visible. But there's just a lot of evidence to show that it's not going to have an effect on property values. Even though 100 feet sounds tall, it's well under applicable FAA limits, so there's no blinky light that's going to be on it. There's a substantial setback and vegetative buffer that will be maintained as part of this process. There's the type of design, the monopole design minimizes the visual impact of the tower. And as we saw from the visibility demonstration, really what you're seeing from some of the more significant vantage points, the beaches on the pond, are the top 10 feet of the tower, certainly not 100 feet of steel that would, that the height would kind of imply, but it doesn't because of all the great benefits. And then the last thing I'm going to say, I think the board is aware, the federal government is actually very encouraging of wireless telecommunications infrastructure. Back about, I used to say 20 years ago, it's almost 30 years ago now, the federal government adopted very comprehensive laws to encourage the development of wireless telecommunications. It's back at a time when we had one telephone company, AT&T, and they broke up the telephone company into multiple wireline companies. They gave out multiple wireless licenses in an attempt to foster competition. So we want to have multiple telecommunications companies, and we have Verizon and T-Mobile and AT&T and other companies, US Cell, and there's other kind of related technology players in the market. And so the government is very encouraging of all that because it wants to foster competition. It recognizes the great public safety benefit of this type of technology. And basically what the government says is, you don't have to say yes, but you can't say no without sufficient reason. You've got to have substantial evidence to say, it's too close to something sensitive. It has too significant an impact. And I think as we've shown, that's really hard in this instance because we designed it in such a way to have minimal impact on the closest neighbors and actually the rest of the town, while certainly providing great benefit. And that's been very heavily litigated throughout the state of New Hampshire and throughout the entire United States. Courts are very favorable to this type of technology because, like I said, they want to encourage it for the better of the greater public, even if there is some minor impact on individual properties. And what the government basically says is you can't, what we have to show is that there's a gap in coverage, which we provided an immense amount of technical data to support that, and that there's no real alternative here. We need the variance. This lot is really the only alternative. And I think as we looked at the land use up in Edelweiss, the topography, there's really nowhere else that we can go. If we go farther down the hill, we'd have to build a substantially taller tower. And then we'd be blocked by the hill that we're on, so from whatever direction you go in. So I think we've provided an immense amount of data in the package to show that there is a gap in coverage and that there's no alternative. So now I'm going to take a very deep breath and say, we respectfully request the zoning board to grant the variances, mainly for height, but also for design and underground utilities. The planning board approved the site plans. I think our engineers did yeoman's job to provide everything that's required for site plan approval and to show that there's no impact on abutting properties or stormwater runoff or anything like that. And that both boards approved the project so we continue to move forward and develop it. I'll be honest, I think at this point, given that we're almost at winter, we're not going to get done with the development process prior to winter, so this wouldn't get built until after the spring anyway. So, but we still want to move as expeditiously as possible through the process. So with that, I'll take questions from the board, take questions from the public. I have the plans here on the screen of the photos, or if anyone wants to say anything specific with respect to the application.
A couple of questions.
We have procedure we need to go through, yeah.
At this point, I would like to open up the public hearing for case 25-07 of the Madison Planning Board. And Kate, would you like to read that hearing, the case, please?
Yep, site plan review request from Francis C. Parisi, authorization for Vertex Towers LLC, 0 Tasker Hill Road, off Oak Ridge Road, tax map 206, lot 71. Proposed project is construction of a wireless communications facility consisting of a 100-foot tall monopole tower on top of a 1-foot foundation, 105 feet to the top of lightning rod inside a 70-foot by 40-foot fenced-in compound. All mailings were done, sent out certified mail on September 24th, posted on the website September 30th, to the Conway Daily Sun on September 27th, and I'm good with everything there.
Thank you, Kate.
Yep.
We have previously elevated 2 alternates here to the planning board tonight. And go ahead, Drew, you open up your side.
Yes, so for the benefit of the public, our case number is different because there's a sequence, a simple sequence number, they just come in differently. So our case number is 2506, Kate, would you read the notifications and?
Sure. Case 2506, variance request from Francis D. Parisi Esquire, authorization for Vertex Towers LLC to install, operate, and maintain a personal wireless service facility at 0 Tasker Hill Road off of Oak Ridge Road, Madison, New Hampshire, tax map 206, lot 71, from the Madison zoning ordinance for the following articles, sections. 1, a variance from Article 6, Section 6.5A to permit construction of a 100-foot tall facility. 2, a variance from Article 6, Section FH5 to permit overhead utilities. 3, a variance from Article 6, Section 6.6M2 to permit a monopole-style facility. If necessary, tower shall not exceed 10 feet over the average tree canopy height. And 4, a variance from Article 6, Section 5.7A to permit construction of the facility on a property with insufficient frontage. And the same thing, all the mailings went out together between the planning board and zoning board, so the same thing, everything September 24th, and the paper was September 27th, and I've had I've got some things that haven't come back, but nothing
Okay.
good.
So, Mr. Parisi, I need to inform you, you have the right to have a 5-member board. We currently only have 4 regular members, and one of them is out of town tonight. Do you wish to proceed with the 3 members that we have?
I'm incredibly respectful of everyone who's a volunteer here, and we would like to move forward, understanding that issue.
Okay, thank you. So with that, our case is open.
Okay. At this time, the planning board, and I'd like to ask the board members if we're ready to accept this application as a planning board a case. And I'd ask for a yes or no vote. I'd ask for a motion from the board.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Seconded? Okay, we have a motion seconded to vote on this case, the application. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, it's a vote. The application, we'll consider it as a complete application for the planning board, and I'll turn it back over to you, Bruce.
Okay, thank you. We have slightly different procedures. Our application is already accepted, so we've opened this case. There's one preliminary item of business for our board, and that is, do we wish to have an independent engineer verify the RF submissions?
I think they've done a good enough job. We don't need it.
I would agree. There's sufficient data here.
Okay, all righty. And I would agree too, so I don't think it's necessary in this case to require an independent secondary viewpoint.
Okay. At this time, we'd like to open up for public comment and questions. We have some public here tonight. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask the boards or the...
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I think proper procedure is to see if the board has any questions.
We're getting to that.
We've worked out a procedure for the joint meeting, and so
we're opening it up to the public if the public has any questions. Yes, sir.
we have to swear members in.
Yep.
Damon Steer, Common Daily Sun. I was just wondering, how,
Excuse me just a minute, you need to be sworn in. Do you have the,
this is a question, not a statement.
oh, okay.
Just how close is the cell tower to the nearest neighborhood? I think you've said at one point, but just want to double check.
The tower is 146 feet to the nearest property line, and then I'm going to guess 250 feet off of Oak Ridge Road.
If I could follow up, is that considered close or far away in the world of the cell towers?
The zoning bylaw requires us to be what we call tower height setback from all abutting property lines. and the tower is 100, with the lightning rod, 105 feet. And and it's going to be about 150 feet from the nearest property line, so we're way more compliant than is required.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Questions from the board?
Doug had one.
Yeah, I've got actually 3 questions, if you don't mind.
We're doing the planning board right now.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Questions from the planning board? Anybody? Okay. I have a
I
couple.
do. I have a, oh,
Yes,
you can
go
go
ahead.
first if you
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering how far away is the parking lot and driveway to the wetlands that are below? What's the buffer there?
So there is no parking lot.
Oh, that's not a parking lot?
It's just a parking space. You see the little rectangle?
Tia, just before we answer this, let me interject. One of my questions is, you talk about a site plan. I don't see in the package, and I don't see visible here, a site plan of the area, something that would be 20 scale, 40 scale, that you can open up and look at, see where the property is, the abutting property, and how the tower is placed on this property, and showing distances from the road, from the property line.
Okay, this was part of the application package. The
For a site plan review, we mentioned about the plan that's referenced as a tax map available from the town. This is what I'm looking at, that's a larger scale that you can look at and be able to see how the tower is placed and the abutting properties, which you do show on here.
This is the lot. The lot is 95 acres.
Does that have an owner on the lot listed?
Yeah, right there. I can zoom in a little bit.
Okay.
So there's the owner of the property,
And the other adjacent properties the same?
this doesn't identify all of the other abutting property owners, but we provide an abutters list as part of that. It's just, it's too big for the, to actually put all the abutting properties on, so we provide an abutters list for them in.
Okay. Is that something possible to provide and submit a plan when we have the planning board meeting?
The answer is yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's my only questions. I have questions, but that'll come at the planning board hearing. Anything else from the board?
That's okay, I can save them for when we
If you'd
meet.
like to, go ahead.
So, let's see.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry, Tia. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good, it's all good. So yeah, so I was just curious about that buffer to the wetlands. And then the road buffer, that's no greater than 35 feet for the driveway. It's just kind of hard to tell on the plan how far you'll have to clear along Oak Ridge Road to get your driveway and your utilities all in there.
The driveway is 12 feet wide.
Okay.
And there'll be overhead utilities along it, so it'll be probably another 8 feet of clearing on one side of the driveway for the utility line.
Okay.
And they were done, it was done very specifically to avoid the wetlands. So you can see the wetlands flags up here on the top corner.
Yep.
Oak Ridge is up here. And so as we come away from Oak, this is actually oriented the wrong way, if you ask me. but it was designed to clearly stay away from the wetlands.
Okay, thank you.
Turn it back over to you, Drew.
Okay, so Doug, you had a question?
Yeah, I've got actually 3 questions, but they're not very difficult. The tower that's there, not the telephone pole, but the other tower that's there, it's owned by Green Mountain Communication. Has there been any thought about putting the T-Mobile cells on that tower?
The tower to the left in the photo here.
Yeah, the
is,
real, yeah, that tower.
That looks like it is accommodating public safety antennas. And they have a very different type of antenna. They're actually smaller and lighter and take up more vertical real estate. And so you can see here, there's a whole, there's probably an antenna that goes probably 10 or 15 feet, and another one that goes 10 or 15 feet, 10 or 15 feet, 10 or 15 feet, 10 or 15 feet, 10 or 15 feet. So they're taking up all the real estate there.
Okay.
And in addition, those antennas, they're literally like a flagpole.
Yeah, I understand.
And so they don't really have a lot of wind loading or weight to them. So that tower wasn't built for the type of antennas that, and these are the type of antennas that like T-Mobile will deploy.
Yeah, right.
Those are crammed in there because it's a wooden telephone pole. I'm betting, although I didn't go in the compound, there's no foundation there. It's just a wooden pole like a telephone pole.
There is.
All the telephone poles you see on the side of the road don't have a
That's correct.
foundation.
Yeah.
We designed something with
Fine.
much greater structural integrity to make sure that there's, safety in mind. And so our antennas are similar to that, like about maybe 8 inches wide, actually very similar to this table.
Yeah, that's a cell.
And there'll be a series of them on
Yeah, I
a
understand.
mount. That's a 2-dimensional picture,
Yeah.
but that mount is actually a triangle. So from a bird's eye view, there'll be, 4, 8, 12 antennas that are spaced. And the reason why there's so many antennas is that companies like T-Mobile or any of the other telecommunications companies, they're deploying multiple technologies. We hear about 4G and 5G, and that's like the generational technology. But they've just recently shut off 3G and moving towards 5G. And so those are 2 different types of antennas. In addition, every telecommunications company, including T-Mobile, has multiple frequency bands. So they have some that operate in the 600 megahertz range, some that operate in the 1900 megahertz range. And so they just require multiple antennas. So when we go back to that other tower that's already there, I believe that's AT&T, they've crammed in all the antennas in there, but it's just not, that type of structure was not designed for modern telecommunications technology and evolution.
I assume that each side of your triangle of cells is going to be about 8 feet wide, is that?
It's about 12, actually.
12, is it 12?
So it's, like from a bird's eye view, you're looking at a 12 by 12.
Yeah, no, I understand, yeah.
I failed geometry, so I couldn't tell you the area, but it's a...
So next question. In this area, there's no T-Mobile coverage, is that true? This is going to be a T-Mobile?
There is. They have antennas basically covering Route 16.
Okay.
And so they have an antenna on the Conway Tower, just right at where Route 16 takes the hard turn there, where the Irving Station is.
Yeah, I know it is.
The new roundabout's going, I heard. And then they have some antennas in Tamworth as well, and then down in Ossipee. So they don't have any antennas in Madison or along the 153 corridor yet.
Right. The last question I've got, and I understand what this means. Some of you people that are building monopoles are doing camouflage as pine trees. Now, I understand that as you drive by, the first couple of weeks, you're going to see it. But after that, it sort of blurs. Have you given any thought to putting the pine tree camouflage on this tower?
I say it all the time, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. sometimes when you try to camouflage something, you call more attention to it. I had someone in your position say once, you can't put lipstick on a pig. And I took offense to that because I find cell towers beautiful. However, the point being, the more you try to make it look like something else, the more you call attention to it. And we've done them before. I can't say we haven't. But what happens over the needles, they're not pine needles, they're fiberglass.
Plastic, yeah.
And they start to fall off.
Yeah.
And I was in a town not that long ago where we were proposing another tower in town, and we had built a pine tree on the other side of town, and they said, can you take the pine branches off? And the reason is because they just start looking stupid after a while. And I drove down in New Jersey this past weekend to go to a wedding, and there were several built along the highway in Connecticut there, the Merritt Parkway as you go into New York, and they're older, and they're just atrocious. There's I don't know if any really ugly ones around here. There's a famously ugly one on the Mass Pike in just west of Worcester that has been there too long, and it just looks like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So
As you head along Route 28 towards Lake Winnipesaukee from here, there's one there in, I don't know if it's Moultonborough Center Harbor.
Right.
If you know where it is,
Yeah.
you can see it, but after you go by a couple of times, you never even see it again. I understand.
We consider it. I've been. I was just in a town in Massachusetts, an equally rural town in Western Mass, and they asked for it, and we did it. And the minute we did it, they called up and said, "Can you take the branches off?"
That's right.
And I said no, and the boss said, "No, I paid for them. You're going to stick it there." And I told him 10 times, "You don't want it. You don't want it. You don't want it." And that was actually one that stuck up higher above the tree line. And I said, it's not going to look like an artificial Christmas tree. It's going to look like a pipe cleaner.
Yes.
Because we can't build them, like a tapered Christmas tree. And I said, you don't want it, you don't want it. And they said, yes, we do. We built it. And they said, no, we don't want it. So I'm just, and then when we look at the photos, you're seeing the top 10 feet. You're not seeing a lot of metal or a lot of fiberglass. So it's I just don't think it's necessary.
And I don't disagree with you, I just had to ask the question. I'm all set, thank you.
Question. So with regard to the carriers, so obviously this is focused at T-Mobile. Is it a foregone conclusion that the other carriers are going to reside on this tower as well?
Yeah, we have relationships with everybody. And we work with all the different carriers, but we're agnostic. We're real estate developers. And we don't do it, building it just for T-Mobile. Verizon does not have a facility here, but getting Verizon to focus on this part of Madison as well as the other part of Madison, as opposed to the rest of New Hampshire, as opposed to the rest of the United States, is a challenge. And same with AT&T. AT&T is across the street. We saw that facility wasn't designed for the number of antennas that they have, so we actually anticipate that they might jump over to ours as well. We don't care. We're going forward with T-Mobile, but we're thoughtful enough to make sure that we have the height and the integrity, the structural integrity, to accommodate multiple antennas, and we've been very successful in that regard. And we find that once we build it for one, others come along as well.
Okay. And you opened the door to coverage, which was my second question.
What's that?
You opened the door to coverage, which was my second question. So,
Oh, exactly.
So what, my question is focused on the other part of Madison, which I heard you say. When I look at the RF analysis maps, it looks like this coverage only goes, say, maybe just past Town Hall, really.
Yeah, this really isn't providing coverage to the 153 corridor. We just got approved for a site in Eaton. Like where if you're coming up 153 by downtown Eaton, for lack of a better word, and you take that hard 90-degree turn right by the lake there, Crystal Lake, our tower is going to be straight. Instead of taking the 90-degree turn as you're going north, our tower is going to be straight up there. And that's designed to cover 153 coming down from Conway all the way to about the Madison-Eaton border. And then we have a site in Freedom on the Freedom, it's in Freedom, but it's on the Freedom-Madison line, providing coverage basically from 25 up to about, so they provide pretty contiguous coverage along the 153 corridor. But those are other projects. This is apples and oranges to that.
Okay.
Let me do another one.
Yeah, Albert, yeah, I got a couple of questions too, but go ahead.
My information here is that that other strange telephone pole, cell tower up there, is done with Verizon. Can you get them to move to this new tower?
I can't force them to
No,
move, but like they've crammed things in there.
Yeah.
They don't have, like, the typical array is 4, 4, and 4. They've got maybe,
Oh,
instead of 12, they've got, maybe 6 there. That was designed, I bet you that's been there 20 years.
it has. But I know, I could,
Much earlier.
I can tell the coverage
Right.
online that it's
And
Verizon
the
stuff.
the other thing too is that the antennas are getting smarter, and meaning the equipment at the base is getting smaller, and the antennas have more electronics as part of the antenna themselves. And what that does is it creates more weight on the antenna. So the 2G and the 3G antennas were a lot less weight. And so when we look at something like that, they're coming onto ours.
Can I do just one more?
And I can't force them to, I can't tell them, but we're pretty thoughtful about it.
Just one more and I'm done. We used to have not good, but we used to have cell coverage along Village Road here, which is 113. And a gentleman that used to be in town and has since moved on, was a communications guy, said that at some point in time, they took those cells and they were at one point pointed down and they moved them up more vertical. So we lost our coverage on.
The other thing that's happened is, we talked about 3G and 4G and 5G. Those are the different generations of technology. And it basically has to be more from analog to digital, and then digital to high-speed digital. As we just started deploying 5G, as the industry started deploying 5G, they've turned off 3G. And the 3G operated at lower frequency bands and were the converge of analog and digital. That technology traveled far, but it was at lower data speeds. And we've gotten used to streaming video, and I used to sit here and laugh and say, I'm watching the Red Sox game, take your time, because our phones do more now. But that migration from 3G to 5G means that places where you had coverage under 3G, you wouldn't have 5G because of the higher data speeds, the higher frequency bands, and like I said earlier, you can't. They're very limited power output. You can't just turn up the volume and turn up the power because of FCC limitations. So and what we found as an industry is that places that had 3G coverage or analog coverage 5 years ago are reducing coverage, which is one of the reasons why we're here with the tower here at Redwise.
Yeah, I have two quick questions. One is the easement. Since the primary lot doesn't touch Oak Ridge Road except for, is that easement through the same owners?
It actually does, I don't know what you call it.
Well, I'm just curious, whether,
Supposedly it goes to the point.
how you get to that lot if it's not actually part of the same lot.
Yeah, you got that one.
I can just have one question.
I believe this here is like part of Oak Ridge Road. So the lot, and so Oak, even though it's not developed, it shows up on the tax assessor maps as Oak Ridge Road. So that frontage right there has frontage on Oak Ridge Road.
Oh, I see,
So it's not,
it's not technically an easement, it's actually a
that's
town
not,
road.
that's like a town road right there.
Okay.
It's the same as that right there, only it's not developed. So
I see. Okay,
as part
so
of this, a
I'll let you
landowner
worry about that, but
can build a
it's-
private road, and then the site will probably be right in there. So So it does have frontage on Oak Ridge Road. Took me a long time to, it's very confusing, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we weren't, going to somebody else's property as well without being aware of it, that's all. Yeah. The other question I had, one of our criteria for hardship has to do with a pretty subjective thing, and you're well aware of this. Is this site uniquely suitable so that it gives us a little bit different criteria for the hardship, or is this just what you would say to deny it would deny coverage? You're following what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. The hardship is defined by multiple things.
Right.
And not necessarily financial, but topography and terrain.
Right.
So this lot is unique in the sense that it's situated in a way that takes advantage of the terrain from a telecommunications perspective.
Right.
And in addition, we really don't have anywhere else to go. Your zoning bylaw was designed 20 years ago when they were trying to restrict them, and it was, keep them on, like we talk about tower height setback. So there's, all the lots around Edelweiss are residential house lots. Not all of them are developed, but none of them have what you would call tower height setback to get above the tree canopy. So this is unique in the sense that it takes advantage of the topography, but there's really no other lots that we can go to, so, and that creates the hardship. The hardship is also, driven by the technology, which is a coverage issue. This lot is, attractive to us because it's not developed. So it has the tree buffer that's required under your zoning bylaw. Anything that would be, you could see that if it was buildable, they'd built it 20 and 30 years ago when they built the Edelweiss neighborhood. So that, all those lead into the hardship, the technology, topography, and the lack of alternatives.
Okay, all right. Set?
Okay, at this time in the hearing, I would like to ask the planning board to continue this public hearing to our Wednesday, November 5th, 2025 meeting at 7 p.m. in the Madison Town Hall, lower level. I take a motion from the...
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chair? You asked for an abutters plan, and I can certainly bring that to the next meeting. Was there anything else that the board wanted me to bring?
Oh, could I ask for something? I'm just interested in the connectivity, I'm not sure what your name is down there on the zoning board.
Can we do that at a public hearing, Tia? We're going to continue this public hearing at the next planning board.
I know, I just have a question about the connectivity with the rest of the town. Where would you need, could you show us where else you would need to give the town full coverage? Like where else you would need another tower in town? Or?
We can talk about that at the planning board. I just, this is somewhat unique in that it's T-Mobile that has coverage along. They're a little bit behind everyone else in development. So they have coverage along the 16 corridor and trying to fill in a gap along 16 and then 113 going into Edelweiss. They don't have any antenna configurations along the 153 corridor. Verizon and AT&T are already on the 153 corridor and filling that out. So
there's no further interest in developing a full plan?
AT&T is waiting, I'm sorry, T-Mobile is waiting for us to build the Eaton and the Freedom and the other ones that we talked about, Effingham,
Okay.
to co-locate on that.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Again, we're asking for a motion to extend this.
I'll make a motion to extend this public hearing to our next meeting. What? Second.
Second. Thank you. Any discussion? We have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, planning board. At this time, the planning board is dismissed, and we'll turn it back over to the group.
so at this stage of the game, we're still in a public hearing for the Vertex Tower case with the Zoning Board of Adjustment. We will also momentarily consider whether we want to continue the case, but we do have an option if somebody else in the public needs to speak to this point from the zoning board perspective of the variance. I'm happy to entertain a question or comment. If there are no other comments or questions from the public regarding the variance requests for this, I'm not hearing anything. Okay. Do you have any further questions? Okay. So then I'll move that we continue this case to our next public meeting, which will be at 6 p.m. at the Madison Town Hall on November 19th. I move that we continue the case to our next.
All right, I will second it.
You second?
I was going to approve the case, but that's okay.
You're going to what?
I was going to approve it, but if you want to move it to the next,
Approve?
I was going to,
Oh, just, you mean move for a decision?
yeah, that's what I was going to do, but if you want to go next, please.
I think we need to do a deliberation of all
Okay.
5 criteria,
All right.
et cetera, et cetera.
Right, so I second your motion.
Can I
Okay.
ask a question? Are you continuing the public hearing or are you closing the public hearing?
And we will continue the public hearing formally. It is very likely that when we have the next meeting, that there'll be a very short public hearing. But we are formally keeping the public hearing open. Unless you guys want to close our public hearing at this
No,
point.
fine.
No, okay.
Nope.
Okay, so we have a motion to continue case, excuse me, what is ours, 2506?
Yep,
2507, continue case 2507 to November 19th
You're
at 6 p.m. the Madison Town Hall lower level.
Correction, it's 06, 2506.
It is 2506, yeah. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I know it's confusing.
Okay. All in
Vote.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we have continued this case at the level of public hearing that time. And we will most likely have a form of the board, and our vice chairman will have brought herself up to speed. I'll give you a moment if you want to.
Attorney Parisi, that will be at the town hall, not here, just so you know, lower level. Yep.
Mark, do you want to join us for these 2 hearings?
Do I? I'd love to.
Yes.
I think you should. I'm going to stick you up here.
That way we can offer at least a 4-member board. Okay, in a second, we will move on to case, I guess it's actually 2507
Yes.
from Mr. Mark Matonki, and then we are likely to be able to address case 2508 as well tonight. I don't know that we'll finish both of them, but we'll certainly be able to begin. I think we'll be able to begin. Can't promise it. but- Okay, so, you know what I don't have? Keith, do you have the notes for the, a set of the meeting agenda rundown? I realized I left, not the agenda, no, the meeting protocol. You know,
Oh,
that has-
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Give me a minute.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I do. I've got, hold on, just give me one sec. I've got everything in here, I think.
I must have gone brain dead tonight when I walked out the door and forgot to pick up my blanks.
I hope I have them. So,
It's easy.
what you're looking for, I'm not sure which one. And then I have this.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Perfect. I have all these copies with me, so.
No, that's fine, thank you. Okay, so, we'll begin with case 2507. Kate, would you read?
Hold on, let me get back to my.
Okay, she needs to get back there.
Wait a
Okay,
minute,
so this
just a
is-
minute.
You might elevate me.
Yes, I will.
Where was it?
Okay, I'm going to elevate Mark to voting status. He's technically an alternate for the ZBA, even though he's actually chairman of the planning board. He's our one planning board member on the ZBA, so we have a four-member board.
Okay, I'm ready now.
Okay.
Ready? Okay. Okay, case number 2507, variance request from Mark McConkey, agent for John and Marjorie Summers for property located at 1071 East Shore Drive, tax map 126, lot 5, article 5, section 5.9C. The zoning ordinance permit the house to be 55.7 feet from the high water mark of Silver Lake where 75 feet is required. All certifieds were mailed out on the 24th of September. Published in the Common Daily Sun on September 27th. I did get one back. It was unable to forward, but it is the actual correct address as Avatar in our system, so I don't know why it would have come back. But it is the correct address. And that is it.
So what do we do when we got one back where we know we have an address?
I mean, we did our due diligence, we sent it.
Yeah, okay.
We
so-
did our due diligence. I mean, it's the correct address. Whether they didn't pick it up, I can't control that part.
Who is it?
It was Katie Armenio trustee.
Oh,
What's that?
what is?
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so what, board members, anybody have a conflict of interest? Rich?
No.
No,
No? You-
No.
No, okay, so we have no conflict of interest, so we have a four-member board. Do we actually have a waiver request, I think, in this
Yes.
case?
that is-
We do, right?
yes,
Yes. Because there's no certified plot plan here.
that's correct.
So, the issue here for members of the, well,
Septic,
wait a minute.
there it is, right.
Oh, yeah. Which page are you looking at?
13,
Okay.
there you go.
Actually, given the nature of this, does anybody think we absolutely require a certified plot plan to address this question adequately?
I don't think so.
No, I don't. The only thing in question is the water line.
Mark, you're usually the stickler on plot.
I'm usually the stickler, but I'll be voted out anyway, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's go ahead and take a vote. Those who want to approve the request for a waiver of the certified plot plan,
Aye,
Rich?
A second, yep.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm yes, so that's three. So, okay, so we accept the waiver. Kate, you got that?
4 of you, Mark too, right?
Did Mark?
I didn't vote.
Oh,
I'll vote, I'll say yes.
all right, 4. Make it easy for me.
It's like-
Okay, so the next question is, does anybody think this has a regional impact?
no,
No.
No.
Okay, so is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak to this case, or? Everyone who wishes to speak to this case, I need to swear in, so, Mr. McConkey, do you swear that the testimony you are give pertaining to this case will be truthful under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Okay, thank you. All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. I know you're board of four. We're perfectly happy with that to move forward. I'm here tonight representing the Sumners, who are seated here with me also. Kevin Drew from LA Drew, the architect, is here also. And the one neighbor that's not the town of Madison, Mrs. Crump, is also in the audience. And she sent along a letter in case she wasn't able to attend. I'll just give you a copy of that.
I think we have it.
We have copies.
We have it.
We have it, yeah.
Yeah, we
There's
got
a
it.
copy with
You
the
want this attachment?
renderings from LA Drew.
Pretty pictures, everybody.
Thanks, Bob.
So we brought in a plan that shows the location of the existing home and the proposed home. The new structure is actually smaller in footprint, further from the lake, and has less impervious impact because the driveway has been brought down to a much smaller number. The home, the proposed home, meets the side setbacks, the setback from the road. It just falls short of from the reference line of the lake. Town requires 75 feet, and the building is proposing to be 55.7 feet from the water. The existing structure had a porch that runs out or deck out ahead of the house. That's being removed. The house is coming back ever so slightly, 4-point-something feet. Keeping with a nice look, I think the new home, the old home will be demolished, this new home will be put into place. This will be more in keeping for their year-round residents and accommodating their family. So they're keeping a lower profile on the front of the home towards the lake, and the second story is going over the garage in the back. There's a series of sloping roof lines. I find it attractive as they do. It's easier for them to move in and about on one plane as they get older, or as we all get older. And all honesty, I think it's a pretty straightforward request. When the time comes, I have our reasons for why I think we abide by the 5 questions, and I'm happy to take any questions or input from the board.
When was the original house built?
I have that in the, it was prior to the enactment of zoning in Madison, and I believe it predates subdivision regulations also. I thought I had it in here for.
Well, the reason why I ask is because, as a zoning board, we have to consider whether this variance is actually required, because our ordinance specifically says any structure existing at the time of the original passage of this ordinance, March 1987, which does not conform to the maximum height limitations and/or minimum setbacks, shall have the right to continue indefinitely or may be demolished and reconstructed within 1 year, provided the reconstructed structure shall be in the same location and of the same dimensions, height, and bulk as the original non-conforming, except that the reconstructed structure may differ in location, dimensions, height, or bulk to the extent such particular differences would make the reconstructed structure less non-conforming. And it would appear to me that this meets those conditions.
I agree.
It does, yes.
I agree.
I love your logic. We're here because Bob issued us a letter of denial, and he had pulled it for the setback.
Yeah, in his defense, we of course changed that ordinance recently.
Oh, okay.
And so, you know, he may in one sense also be testing to see how we view these things. You were involved in rewriting that ordinance. Is the way I read that in the way this?
I was wondering the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, so then in this case, then we don't actually need to consider the 5 criteria, but I think we do need to go on record because it was brought to us as an application to say that we would approve this construction because it meets the requirements of, 1.3B, and therefore it's on the record.
Yeah, yep, I agree.
Mark, you?
Yeah, you're not expanding, you're not coming any closer to the lake,
We're coming back.
and you're not expanding anything in the setbacks.
Correct.
I think he's
Mark,
good.
are you demolishing the foundation as well, or just the home?
Foundation, I believe, is on, the whole structure's coming down.
Yeah.
It is.
Skip the old Evo. Is this next to Hurricane Point, near Hurricane Point?
Yes,
Yeah, just past it, I think, right?
it's right next
It's
to it.
right next door, I believe,
It
Hurricane
is.
Point, which is the town of Madison's
Yes.
property, I believe is the next property.
Yes.
If I'm looking to the water to the right.
And then,
Town of Madison owns behind it.
Yep.
And our one abutter is to the left. It's a
Susan
beautiful
Clark.
vantage point.
Hurricane Point's nice. It's where E.E. Cummings wrote The Enormous Room. I'll bring my copy if you want to read it.
Well, enter it into the record in this case.
An enormous room, yeah. I think we're good.
Okay, well then, I move that we approve the construction based on its conformity with Article 1.3B of the zoning ordinance.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye, okay.
they're done.
We're
I
done with that
love
one.
this
So,
energy. I love this energy, gentlemen. Thank you. Appreciate your assistance.
pink and red are too close. You got to pick 2 different colors.
Yeah, I second that.
I stared at that for a long time, too.
Thank you.
Okay. That was easier than I thought. Okay, so now we come to case 2508.
Do you have to close that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Sorry, don't mean to.
I'm sorry, you're right. I need to read the closure.
That doesn't need to be appealed.
This is not my normal sheet, so I'm looking for this. Doesn't appear to be here. Kate, do you have the wording for that?
Yep, got it right here.
Okay.
Hold on. I have 2 different ones, so.
If you had it in front of you, you could recite it without reading it.
It's the comfort factor, right?
Yes, it is.
Yep. It's in the first one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, great, thank you. Okay, so formally, I know our folks have left, but if one wishes to appeal this case, one must act within 30 days of the date on this notice, day 1 being the day after the date of decision, which is tomorrow. That is, the date of decision is today, day 1 is tomorrow. The necessary first step before any appeal may be taken to a higher court is to apply to the Board of Adjustment for a rehearing. The motion for rehearing must set forth all the grounds on which one would appeal the case. Board members are advised to refrain from discussion of the appeal with other board members and all parties to the appeal until all appeal periods have expired. Thank you. Okay, 2507 is closed. And case 2508 now. Okay, so we have, is there anybody here? Yes, okay.
Are you
Okay,
Angela?
great.
Hi.
Okay, go ahead and read the.
Okay, so, case number 2508, variance request from, is it Angela or Angel? Angel, that's what I thought. Byers Crandell, trustee of the Angel Byers Crandell 2002 Trust for property located at 2 Alpenfell Way, tax map 109, lot 143, Article 5, Section 5.9D and E of the zoning ordinance, permit an attached 2-car garage with a mudroom addition, which is 55 feet from the center of Alpenville Way, where 65 feet is required. All other setback requirements are met, and everything is good. I don't have anything that came back. They all came back good, so
Okay.
you did a good job. Thank you.
Okay, so, do any of the board members have a conflict of interest in this case?
No.
No.
No. Okay, so no conflicts of interest. We don't have anything that looks like a certified plot plan. So, yeah, my only question is, you stated the distance from the center of, how do you say that? Oppenville Way. But there's no measurement here.
It's 55 where 65 is,
Well, we know 65 is the requirement.
and it says 55.
It says 55, but I'm
Yeah.
just
All
asking the
right, there's no
question from
plan.
our perspective is how do we know that it's
Was
55?
that done by putting a stick in the ground, or
Yeah.
how did they do that?
Yeah.
And I believe Edelweiss requires a certified plot plan, right?
Well, technically, the zoning board of adjustment requires a certified plot plan, but we have a plan, an option for giving a waiver. Right? So, okay, before we get into this, I need to, since we're gonna have to discuss this a little bit, let me swear you in. You raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you give pertaining to this case will be truthful under penalty of perjury? Okay, thank you. Okay, so, yeah, so, I mean, we live in a world of not absolute precision, but measurements. How do you know it's 55 feet?
That's what I was told by the building inspector. I'm a contractor.
Okay,
In the building, in the packet of information I got from the building inspector when it was denied.
okay, it's understandable that he would, but how did, I mean, on the positive side, in order for us to decide we need a variance, I need to know that you are in fact less than 65 feet. Do you, I mean, now I can understand Bob might have said no, but how do we deal with this? I mean, just,
We need a plan.
Yeah, I think we need a plan. We need to know what we're approving, and we can't.
yeah, I mean, so we have your architectural drawings, which are fine and helpful, and I went out and looked at the site, and probably some of the others did as well. Point is, I don't think we have any, how would you put it, substantial questions as to what you intend to do, but we are required by law to actually make a decision based on. So is it possible for you to get, I don't know, from your architect or contractor, just bring us back? Do you have a drawing in your file that shows that didn't get submitted with the application? I mean, I just need to know, we need to know why it's 55 feet, other than say, well, my contractor said so.
Well, the certified plot plan is in process.
Okay.
Doug, you might have noticed some of the orange tags were around the house
Yeah.
when you went to look.
Yeah.
So the beginning of the land work, the site work has started, and we were told we would have a final report by the end of the year.
Okay. So, okay, well, let me just ask the question. When would we be able to get, can you go back to your contractor and say, can he submit, okay, the pragmatic reality is you need the variance in order to start construction.
Right.
Right, you don't need the variance in order to do the excavation, you don't need the variance in order to, of course, all that is money invested in the off chance that the variance wouldn't be granted, and I'm not allowed to tell you in advance informally whether we think we'll grant it or not.
Okay.
But
Understood.
it would be very helpful if you could get us that, as soon as possible, and
This is the only thing I have that has 55 feet on it.
Who created this?
The contractor.
Well, that says 35.
His handwriting is hard to read.
What's that?
His handwriting is difficult to read.
Yeah.
as well as the board.
Yeah, I think it would be okay with us
Clear.
if it were not done by a surveyor with a stamp on it. But well, in other words, a certified plot plan means you have a surveyor come out and he has a plan that's got a stamp on it, like the things we were looking at for the other thing.
No,
But-
I know what that is.
Yeah, right. So even if you just had the contractor, draw up a diagram that,
This is what he came up with when he was asked to do that
Yeah.
as part of the building permit application.
yeah, well,
And that's clear, it does say 35, not 55.
that says 35, not 55.
And I would bet it's to the edge of the road, not the center of the road.
Yeah,
That's probably what he did. He probably went to the edge of the road.
yeah, well, probably, that wouldn't count for 20 feet. but-
No, it wouldn't, but
Well, I think, well, we don't have to have a surveyor do it, but we have to have something that's a little bit more accurate than,
Are your pins there, or your corner?
They are now.
And did the surveyor who put those there was going to draw a plan?
Yes. He did the way that I understand it is he's done the border
Yeah.
lines, and then the next part of it is the house and the addition
Yeah.
and all of those
Yeah.
pins that have to go in. And when I arrived today and looked on the side of the house, they weren't there yet. So I'm not sure when that's scheduled for.
I would never build anything that I wasn't sure was,
Exactly where they were.
yeah,
All right, let's put it off.
because someday,
Yeah, I think we probably need to continue this. The question is, if we continue till November, do you think you could have your surveyor engineer give us?
The final report or just a preliminary?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by the final report, but what we need is a plot plan that has the measurements on it that was done by someone who has actually put a tape measure on the ground from the center of the road to the corner of the house. Now, if you actually have a surveyor doing it, he should probably be able to just print something out, but of course, depending on when he's put his data in the machine. So I mean, the sooner the better. I mean, we could continue it till November, and if it turns out that he's not ready by then, we could continue it again. You know what I mean? We haven't been overly stringent in giving these kinds of requests when they meet the 5 criteria, but we do need a basis, to actually have a good measurement, so. 'Cause that thing seems to say, or I gave it back to you, it says 35, this says 55, and we need a map that tells us what it is, so.
I agree.
Okay.
Can I move that we continue this until our next meeting in November?
sure.
Date certain to,
I'll second that.
do the date
Very
certain, the date and time and all that. Let's put that. we gotta put that.
November 19th,
Yep.
6 o'clock, lower level of the
Thank you.
town hall.
Just got to do it for the record. I'm
Yes, I
sorry.
understand.
I'm a stickler.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so bring us back, a measurement
A little bit more
a
formal.
little bit.
I don't think any of these old pieces of paper have yet.
Okay.
No.
so-
Do I have to reapply everything?
No,
No, no, no, no, no, no, you're continued. You're fine.
Okay.
Which means that everything stays static, that is, butters are notified, everything, fees are paid, nothing's.
Keep in touch with me and I'll have her keep in touch with me and let me know if you have it for the November meeting. And then if you don't, then I can report to you and let you know that she doesn't, and then
Yeah, and then we'll just.
you continue it
yeah,
till
then you-
December, so
if
we'll
you
keep in
don't have
touch.
it, We'll just have it on the agenda as a continuance. You
Correct.
don't need to show up for that. You're welcome to, but I mean,
Okay.
yeah. so.
Yeah, just keep me in the loop.
This is is this the old tax map
That's a tax map, yeah.
that has the,
Yeah, that won't have your needs and downs
no,
on it,
he
no.
just drew it on the side
Yeah.
of the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so no pencil? No pencil drawings?
You want to make sure in 20 years, if you sell the house and somebody has it surveyed, that the
And
house is
encroach.
where it legally can be.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, not on the back of a napkin, it should be formally laid out. Yeah,
Okay.
so you have this reasonably precise, I mean, it's like, he's gonna use a tape measure or whatever, he's gonna within a couple inches. But what we'd like to avoid is if you sell the house and somebody says, oh, we measured it and it's actually not where it's supposed to be, and then
You have an
then get a
encroachment.
problem with the title company, and then you have to come back for an equitable waiver and all that kind of baloney, so we'd like to avoid all that. Yeah.
No
And you don't want
intention of selling
that, from the
house.
title world, you don't want
No.
that. That's what I used to do, so you don't want an encroachment.
Okay,
Yeah. Good.
all right, thank you.
All right, just keep in touch with me. Let me know, okay? All right, sure.
All right, so now we have a couple of other administrative items to take care of. So, let's see. So, do we have any, is it budget discussion and the
Minutes, budget.
minutes, is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've got to get the budget to Linda as soon as I can. But, because we've done planning board and we've done conservation, but I just don't, and Sharon's not here, so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I included it in the packet because I really need to get it to Linda.
Well, let's just look at it for a moment.
We really, the legal line is where we're,
Yeah, but actually, the trouble is we're actually over on several items. Why are we so far over on
we
postage?
haven't, the short-term rental stuff will go, the ETFs will go back into our budget,
The town's legal budget?
well, the legal, most of that legal budget is from the cell phone tower case.
Oh, because the SCR stuff would come out of that
That came
line.
out of the warrant article of the $80,000, correct. So our legal line is not good right now. But we can't predict what's going to happen in the future. We couldn't predict that
Yeah.
this was
well,
going to
and
take
we
place,
don't have
so,
the expenses, and that's yet to go to court.
right. So, I don't know,
Well, we probably better. We've expended $21,000 on that. I have no idea. what
I
it's
don't know
gonna
what's
cost in
coming
federal court.
next, you know what I mean? I mean, going to court and all of that, I
So that case will go back to court.
it is in court.
Yeah, it's currently being litigated in federal court, right? So,
So,
and I don't know what happens, for example, if we win the case.
Do you get
whether-
attorney's fees? I
oh,
don't know.
in federal
Whether,
court.
well, there's court costs.
Right.
Which,
Filing
I don't know
fees.
if they're automatically, in a federal case, are they shared, is it the loser pay, or what's the deal?
I worked in Superior, I did district court, so I don't know.
Yeah, okay, well.
Sorry. I dealt
well,
with
maybe
Superior
what
Court,
we
but
ought-
never
Maybe
federal,
what we ought to do is ask the attorney for an estimate.
for 2026, to try to
Well,
get
for
a
what's
feeling.
yet to be spent on that court case.
We know, yeah, I have a figure, I already have a figure, you got an email too, we have a figure in our head of what that is.
Did I get,
You did, yep.
okay.
So, all right, so I don't know what to do.
Okay, why are the notices
Why don't we just call it 10,000? Because the facts of the case are found, so it's not like you're going to be arguing that stuff. You're going to be arguing pretty much what's already
Well,
on
the
the
question is how
table.
much does the court cost and how much is it, where's the court and how many hours is he going to spend preparing for it, et cetera, et cetera.
And he's already done his answer, and then he has to have something else done by November. So there's work being, his memorandum, there's work being done.
Oh, this year,
Yeah,
this year's
we're
budget.
not done this year, no.
Yeah.
No, that figure's going to go up more.
Yeah. that-
Considerably.
That will, but when will it, do we have a court date? Is it in next year?
There's a court date in November that he has, something to get to the court. I can't remember what it was. I briefly
Yeah,
looked
but
at
it's
it.
all preliminary stuff, so the actual court.
Yeah, I don't think there's a court date. There's not a court date set for this at
That's
all.
not likely to be this year then.
What
Who
was the-
knows?
What was the court case two weeks ago?
That was the STR.
That's the STR.
Yes, that was the one, in October 2nd, that was down in, yes, that was the STR case.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard back from that yet?
No, I'm not planning on that until I don't know. He said a quick decision, but
Well, let me.
they have 30 days,
I'll
Doug.
tell you what, let me do a tad bit of research on that and then get back to you. But like you said, we can put, we might need to put $20,000 on that or more.
I know.
So, but the question is, why is postage and notices and postage are two separate issues?
Mailing
Yes.
this stuff.
Well, we didn't mail that stuff.
No, it's sending out notices to it's the paper, the Call Daily Sun, and mailings, postages, mailings, all certified mails. But we get the checks back, so, they pay for it, but
We still have to budget
I have
for it.
but I have to put it, I have to charge, it goes to a line item.
Well, the thing is, the postage was more than twice what we allotted for it last year.
Because we had a lot of mailings, Drew. All those short-term rentals, I had to keep sending it, remember, renoticing and renoticing and renoticing till I was,
Well, but the town actually recovers that money from.
right, and we haven't, that I don't think has been put back in.
Right, okay, so in fact, those things, this is just an accounting blip, because we're not actually footing that bill. That is, the town's not actually footing that bill. That's being paid by the, okay.
I mean, everything else was good, it's just those three line items were.
Okay, I'll have to get back. Let me do a little bit of research on the legal stuff and get back to you in the next day or so.
Okay, and then we'll just
In
have
the-
to,
In the comments box, could you put there that this is recovered by the people applying?
well, the legal line, that is, that,
He's referring to notices. and-
oh, notices,
Postage.
yeah, I think that's.
Just a note that says this gets recovered.
I'll talk to Linda about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
People on the budget committee.
Hey, be nice.
Well,
I think that's
the
what
reality is,
happens.
I mean, I'm in favor of the way the accounting's done because it tells us where the money was spent.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
perfectly appropriate. But on the other hand, it's also important for us to know that the town's not on the hook for that.
Right, no, when they mail their checks in to me for a case, they pay for the postage at that point in time.
Exactly.
But then I have to charge it. Because I have to put it to a line item when
Oh,
it
yeah,
has to
right.
go
No, that's what I'm
somewhere.
saying. Yeah, from an accounting perspective.
Right.
We want to know what was spent, and that's
Yep.
entirely appropriate for it to show up like that.
Well, we can wait until next month, and I think we can, I'll just tell Linda we won't have it till November 19th.
Yeah. Well, but that's an interesting question, then. If that money is all recovered, then why do we list it as a budget line item?
Because it's going to come out when she does the postage, I think when she does the postage meter reading, it gets applied to a line, the ZBA's postage line. Same with the notices, like when I'm doing, because I do all the billing and the financial stuff, so when I get a notice from the Call Me Daily Sun for posting for zoning board.
Right.
I have to apply that to
Right,
our
right.
line item.
Right.
But those things haven't all been, like if they were short-term rentals or anything, I don't think Linda's put those in from the ETFs yet. I think she just got money from the trustees of the trust funds to do stuff, so.
But do we ever get that money put back into our line item, just for accounting purposes, that's it.
That's what I think she hasn't done yet. I don't think she's done that yet.
I see, okay.
I'll
So
confirm
the
with
legal,
her.
the legal line is the one that's really the.
That one is, and that one, that 15,926, that is Tim's bill to date from January, well, December 24th, right around that time frame forward. So, and that's going to increase quite a bit, probably double to triple that amount.
Yeah, right. Okay, all right, well, I guess that's the most we can do on that.
I'll tell Linda we're going to hold on to it until the 19th, and I'll have it to her then.
Yeah,
She's not going to be finalizing it then. She just was trying to get them, she tries to get them to the budget committee, and they just got to wait.
right.
Because our chairman of the budget committee is not here.
Well, you know, on the other hand, you know, if she wants a figure to pencil in, well, the real question is, the legal line item for next year depends when that court date shows up. Because if
Right.
it ends up in December,
And we don't know what's happening with the short-term rentals, if that is all gonna,
yeah, I know.
You ought to just put 20 in it.
Yeah, we only, the STR case that was on the court, on the second, was only for 2 or 3 cases.
4.
There's a 4, and there's another 15 that is
Well, but
waiting.
they're not likely to go to court.
No, you're
because-
right.
No,
because
they're
what's
using
gonna
these as
happen
a,
is-
Precedent.
yes.
Because it's an administrative decision, then they'll all have to be decided, and then they'll be remanded to us,
Now we have to do them all over
and
again.
then we'll.
And I'll
We'll just sit on
quit.
it.
You want to put money on that?
I hope I can live through it again.
Okay.
All right, so we'll pencil that as a hold until the 19th. I'll talk to Linda, and then we'll have Sharon on the 19th, and we'll be able to get a better grip.
Yeah, and we might have a better idea of what we're actually gonna need to spend.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Well, and this is for next year anyway, right? So.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. She gave it to me. I've got everybody else's but this one, so, yeah,
Thank you.
all right.
Okay, let's look at the minutes, September 17th. Did anybody have anything in particular?
I read
Sharon's
them.
not here, so we don't have detailed.
The spelling check.
Well, I typically run a close second to her, and I didn't find anything.
No, I think they're good.
There's not much to them.
Yeah, okay,
I like these.
all righty.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to accept them as written.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the minutes are approved as submitted, and we have a plan for the, okay, the only other thing we need to potentially discuss, let's see, what was it? Well, we're in desperate need of new members.
No.
So, I don't mind putting another notice in Facebook. Did you, just when you applied, did you apply because you saw the Facebook note or because you know George or something like that? Or why did you?
Both. Both. George
Twisted
and
your arm.
I had conversations for several months running.
I see, yeah.
And then I did happen to see the thing in Facebook, and
But that wasn't, yeah, okay. I mean, that's, I'm just making a comment, that's supportive, but that's not our primary line of attack. Our
Right.
primary line of attack, so to speak, is to inform friends, relatives, and other members of the public who are resident in Madison that we need members of the zoning board of adjustment, and it's a fun job.
And it pays well.
he almost
pays
said that with a
very-
face, with a straight face.
You know, you might think about compensation. I mean, seriously.
Well, what we need is to raise taxes.
Yeah.
Well,
I think you might see that coming down the road,
My
though.
assessment's doubled.
Oh, no, that's not how that works.
Oh, that's okay, okay.
I think you're going to see that, Drew, come down the road, though. I think that's may happen in the future.
I mean, they do it with firemen.
I
They-
think that's the, I
That's-
think,
I mean,
mean, I
I'd
don't want to see
spend-
it either, but I think that that may end up happening.
An hour and a half at lunchtime, I'll spend 3 hours tonight, I'll spend 2 hours tomorrow afternoon.
I know.
Well, the reality is, our homes were reassessed. They're at an assessed value. This year's budget is simply divided differently, so that,
Yeah.
in principle,
But, I mean,
there's no
in-
net change in taxes because our budget was there, right? So our taxes are based on the town budget.
Well, historically, when your assessed value goes up, historically, your tax rate comes down.
Goes down.
Exactly.
it
So,
should. But I mean, as far as getting members, I mean,
Yeah.
throw somebody $1,000 or something.
Yeah.
How much is that gonna cost? I mean, if you want zoning and you want subdivision regulations, there are costs to that. And if you can't get volunteers, if these old guys won't come out and serve on boards.
Who's he talking to?
Shall I
gotta
make
be you guys.
But
I
historically,
still feel like I'm 40, so.
shall I make
I
a
don't.
motion that we get paid $1,000?
I'll second it.
Say that. I gotta write it down.
I mean, maybe we should approach the town, approach the selectmen and say, I mean, the planning board is okay right now, but it
We have
struggles.
8 members, so we have 8, I mean, 2 alternates, and
Yeah,
we're in good shape.
but, yeah, 3 members and 1 alternate,
I know.
so.
Well, we've had a difficult year, and we probably scared all volunteers away.
Yeah, SDRs did that.
Yeah.
Thank you
But
very
this is
much.
never that easy a job.
Well, ease and controversial are slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
it's-
our-
But, I mean, you're
particularly-
making hard decisions about people's property rights.
Yeah,
And they're here because there's a controversy about it.
Yeah.
They've already been turned down, so
Yeah.
they're,
right. Well,
yes.
So,
So our job is more difficult than yours.
yeah, well, the reality is, we need to talk to our friends, relatives, neighbors, and other people who are resident in Madison, but we need people.
then you'll have fewer friends. Oh, no, it's him again.
You used to say that about George.
So I have to do that for the ZBA, for the ABC, for SLAM.
Okay. Anything else? Kate, is there anything else?
Not for me.
That's everything.
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wow,
Meeting adjourned.
before 8 o'clock.
Before 8 o'clock.
This
I'm
is amazing.
I thought we would
Unbelievable.
be working on the cell phone tower till 8 o'clock.